5 stages of letting go after a breakup. If you're going through a breakup right now, especially after a long relationship, there's one thing you need to understand first, that what you're feeling is not random. Millions of people experience the same patterns after a breakup, even though everyone believes their situation is different. No, the pain feels personal, but the process is predictable. Today, I will explain the 5 stages of healing, of letting go after a breakup, why they happen, and what real people commonly experience in each stage. Stage 1: disbelief. This is when the brain freezes. The first stage is disbelief. This is when the breakup has already happened, but your emotions haven't caught up yet. Psychologists call this cognitive emotional delay. The logical brain registers the breakup immediately, but the emotional brain lags behind. This is why people often say it doesn't feel real yet, or I feel something strangely calm. I know it's over, but I don't feel it. You keep thinking of practical things like bills, routines, plans. You expect messages out of habit. You assume there will be a follow up conversation that fixes everything. Many people mistake this stage for hope. It's not hope, it's adjustment. Studies on sudden loss show that the brain often numbs emotion first to prevent overload. This is the same response seen after accidents or major life shocks. Disbelief doesn't mean you're in denial, it means your brain is protecting you while it reorganizes. Stage 2: emotional dependence, and why it feels physical. This is the stage most people underestimate. Emotional dependence feel intense because it's not just emotional, it's neurological. Long-term relationship increases oxytocin and dopamine levels. When the relationship ends, those levels drop suddenly. This creates symptoms similar to withdrawal, like anxiety, restlessness, tight chest, loss of appetite, or overeating. People often say, I miss them even when I know the relationship wasn't good. Or I feel lonely even when I'm not alone. Or everything reminds me of them. Here's an important truth: you're not missing the person as much as you're missing regulation. They were part of how your nervous system felt safe. Brain scans show that romantic rejection activates the same areas as physical pain. This is why breakups can feel unbearable even when nothing bad is happening externally. Pain here does not mean you should go back. It means your brain is relearning how to self regulate. Stage 3: mental replaying. The brain's need for control. This stage is where overthinking peaks. The brain starts replaying the relationship, searching for logic and certainty. The brain hates unfinished stories. Replaying gives the illusion that if you understand everything, you'll feel better. Rewriting conversations in your head, imagining what you would say if you talk again, switching between blame yourself and blaming them. People often report thinking, if only I had known then, or I should have seen the signs, or one more conversation would fix this. Here's the truth: understanding the past is useful. Needing a different ending keeps you on an emotional stuck. Stage 4: detachment. This is when emotions catch up with the reality. This stage is subtle but powerful. Detachment doesn't arrive with fireworks, it arrives quietly. What typically happens is that the emotional reactions weaken. You think about them less frequently, you stop needing updates about their life. People often say, I thought I'd feel happier, but I mostly feel calm. Or I still remember them, but it doesn't hurt the same. Or I'm not triggered by anything anymore. This is when people worry they're becoming cold. They're not, they're regulated. Emotional detachment is associated with decreased cortisol levels, meaning your stress response is finally settling. Here's the truth: healing doesn't feel dramatic, it feels neutral, and neutrality is freedom. Stage 5: reset. This is when you stop defining yourself by the breakup. This is the stage people rarely talk about, but it's the most important. Reset is not about happiness, it's about clarity. You reflect without emotional charge, you recognize patterns without shame, you develop stronger personal boundaries. People say, I understand what I want now. Some says, I wouldn't accept the same dynamics again. Or, I don't feel like I lost myself anymore. You don't forget the relationship, you just stop living inside it. People who reach this stage often report improvised decision making and higher self trust, even compared to before the relationship. You didn't lose time, you gained perspective. This is why most people think they're doing it wrong, because healing isn't linear. You may revisit stages. That doesn't erase progress. Each return is shorter, each wave has less intensity. This is how the brain processes emotional memory, in layers. The common mistakes people make is rushing your relationship to avoid discomfort. That's a big no. Seeking validation from the person who hurt them. Expecting healing to feel obvious. Healing usually feels boring before it feels freeing. Letting go after a breakup is not about forgetting someone. And it's not about pretending a relationship didn't matter. It's about reaching a point where your past no longer has power over you, where it is no longer being decide how you feel when you wake up in the morning, where it no longer influences the choice you make, where it no longer defines your worth as a person. Strength doesn't mean you stop caring. Strength doesn't mean you stop letting the pain control your direction. If you're in the middle of this process, hear this clearly. You are not behind, and you are not failing at healing. You are exactly where you're supposed to be. Growth doesn't always look like confidence or happiness. Sometimes growth looks like surviving days you never thought you'd get through. Sometimes it looks like choosing yourself quietly over and over again. And one day, without forcing it, without chasing closure, you'll notice something different. You're making plans again, you're thinking about your future, you're focused in your life, not the breakup, not the loss, not the pain. That's when you know You didn't lose yourself. You found yourself again.